All right. Let's begin lesson 59. For again, H Radio 223 part timers. We are in the we just started off with promotions and queue building, execution strategies, ideas for contests, competitions, and the way that we can, just reward our listener, as I was saying in the first lesson over there. If you want some reference in terms of your textbook, you can turn to the pages 343 to 330, 372, excuse me, 343 to 372 in chapter 29, The Sound of the Story in Beyond Powerful Radio, Valerie Geller's book. Okay. So, what we're going to do in this lesson, there's a lot of theoretics, so we're going to keep that. I know that you enjoyed some of those videos that we included in the previous lesson, and you now have a good feel as to what we are striving for to be able to create some really great competitions, but also stuff that just always rewards our listeners, and they feel like they are part of our extended brand, wherever and whenever they decide to, engage with us. Right. Okay. Let's move into the first slide here. And as you know, I don't ever really run the slides, so because I normally do this and point out and do this and that type of stuff, right? Which I'm guessing you can do it on a run one, but I don't really have the technical skills for it. So let's go this way. All right, a promotion is anything that puts the word out about your station, right? So again, something that you might have thought is very obvious, but now we just want to get into the technicality and the theoretics of exactly what it is. It is anything that we're going to do as a station to make sure that outside, right? So outside of those four walls as well from the station itself, the studio, where of course stuff does go to air and it does publicize it there on that platform in that space. We do also want to know that it is having some kind of ripple effect on our listeners somewhere else. So whether it be in their cars or at their houses or in their shopping mall or in whatever it is, that promotion must become alive, right? In their everyday life, right? So promotions get people talking about and listening to the product, which is the station. Events such as publicity stunts, which you saw a number of them in the previous lesson, and outside advertising on billboards. So our OOH, very important there. Doesn't happen much though in terms of radio. If you look at just like here in Gauteng, you will see now and again a station put in. It's really expensive to advertise on a billboard. Prime Media pretty much owns quite a lot of a lot of those billboards, so they just use their own resources. But for other stations, they hire out the space, they put it out there, and it's got to have obviously a really good reason, substantiation as to why we're going to spend a little bit more money on TV, especially TV. I don't think, okay, I didn't really actually watch commercial TV or national public TV. Um, and I didn't really see many stations actually reaching out towards that platform because you know why? There is so many other ways. There are many other ways to be able to, advertise and be able to, reach people these days, not spend the money. TV is super expensive, right? For spot space. Promos are spots or segments that you run on the station itself that support your own programming. So just to note again, the difference between how do we promote something, right? So what is a promotion and then a promo, and then how the two are obviously intertwined and interconnected, right? So radio promotions have two goals. One, to draw in new listeners. Again, as we said, within the target market. We're not necessarily trying to drag someone from a different station that has a completely different format, offers something completely different to us, but more of the same type of listener because there are a lot of there's a lot more. There's always a lot more people that could possibly want to tune into the station as well. Right, to get current listeners to tune in more often and for longer. Right, so time spent listening, always, one of the big factors, the main factors in anything that we do in radio. Right, so that's something that shouldn't come as a surprise to you. Right, so when budgets get tight, the first thing to be cut is the marketing budget because it is super expensive. to be able to roll out certain ideas. And then we have to get creative and get kind of, our brains thinking out the box to be able to say, okay, what can we do in terms of, I don't know, or something that costs us almost nothing, which ideally is something on digital, whatever it may be, um, or costs us nothing in terms of what we can actually do on air because the station is live. The DJs are there. We do have, that space, that platform to be able to, market ourselves, obviously within our own brand. But if we don't have the budget to necessarily go and do outside broadcasts, because I mean, it costs money just to take that OB van out there, set it all up, electricity, that type of stuff, and so much more. I'm saying to manpower, um, and perhaps also extra equipment that might or might not be owned by the station as well. So if it's not, it should be able to, it should be rented, etc., etc. And and then if we want like this interactive, if we want an interactive experience, that's only going to cost resources and so on and so forth, right? So that's what we sometimes are forced to do in any station. I think most commercial or community stations have, they have a budget, and the thing is that they've got to stick within that budget or whatever it is that they have in their bank account, should I say, right, at any one point throughout the year. Okay, so let's look at concepts of radio station promotions or contesting. Because of the financial situation, stations do have all the time, as I just said, the current trend in marketing and promotion of broadcasting properties is to get results with a lot less, right? So it's about that out thinking, literally what I just said. How can we make something really cool, um, by us applying our creativity and our brainstorming together, structure something cool, come up with a plan, think a bit out the box. Everything in life has its own restrictions. Nothing is just like willy-nilly and whatever it may be, right? And so this is very normal for life, to be able to think outside the box and maybe be able to work with just what we have, make the most of it. Listeners must be aware of the station, to be able to listen to it. Agree? So, first and foremost, before we even start with contests, before we even start with campaigns, whatever, the station needs to be out there. Like the brand needs to be out there. People need to know that the radio station exists, right? And that is not a given, because if you have to think about how many stations off the back of your hand, um, like, or should I say at the top of your head? Is that right? Yeah, off the top of your head. You can name maybe 12, 13, 15, 20, maybe even 25 to go and push it. But we know that there are 400 stations here in South Africa. And so the thing is that, yes, if a station goes and puts himself out there, just with some basic, digital marketing, for example, you would then become aware of it and be like, oh, okay, this looks interesting. I might want to try it out, today. Radio stations use contests and integrated campaigns to obviously also get the word out, right? So, if we want to push for, just like new listeners, and maybe the brand is quite new, the station is quite new, you want to be able to build that kind of commitment as well, so bring them in. Make sure that what they do listen to, or they are exposed to, is nice, simple, it's effective, and it's definitely serving up something of good or great quality, right? So, and so on and so forth. Contesting is about fantasy, and listeners love to play games. You know what I'm saying to you? We all like to indulge in a bit of a test, or a bit of a, trivial something, or, we also like to just enjoy ourselves recreationally. So, it's a nice way to be able to just say, listen, yeah, let's get them involved in a fun way, right? Creativity and passion are key elements to powerful radio, but obviously, again, limited budgets can be obviously and are the constraint, or restriction. Now, your own station's airwaves and websites are powerful promotion tools when used effectively, because you own them. And once again, it doesn't cost anything to post something, create something really cool and interesting, post that, have a digital calendar, and really have it under, like have it, it's the, responsibility lie on, let's say, the DJs, on the marketing team, if you do have one, like, the content creators, the producers, whatever it may be. And that can be the first and easiest way to, promote your station, right? So branding your station is a tricky, like I say, it's always a tricky, process, because branding your station, just in terms of imaging, like what does your logo look like, what are you trying to say, like rebranding in terms of like a mission, a tagline, vision statement, whatever it is. Like we have to decide. It's that is a definitely expensive process, because you don't want to go cheap on that. And also, like, just so that's literally the semantics, on some that touch and feel stuff, right? But then that branding needs to be, obviously, it needs to be carried throughout the product as well, right? Being able to keep your promise of what the brand has, it's publicized. So if your station says that you play a lot of music, you should actually play a lot of music. If it plays your favorite hits, then make sure that it is the listener's favorite hits. If it is a talk station, then make sure that, and it talks about whatever things that matter to you, then that listener will expect everything that comes off that particular radio station, or out of that radio station, to be important, relevant to them. Listeners like to know what to expect when they tune into your station, right? So, your station logo must be a visual representation of different colors to different things. This is something that you did learn at school, actually, and it was in English, as far as I remember, which I know you're going to be like, oof, now, when was that? Long time ago. The syllabus doesn't actually change much in school or schooling. And I only know this because my sister is a school teacher. Right, but I know that these things are normally taught in English. Different colors mean different things. So if we look at like what red might mean, and what blue or white or black or yellow, and then we'll look at different logos and see, if there's a combination of purple and yellow, if there's a combination of red and white, if there's a combination of blue and white, what is that brand trying to say about, about them to their customer, right? This is why the professional is needed. And I'm saying that in terms of graphic designer, with obviously the guidance, the direction from the station itself, right? And the key players, ideally, the marketing department, programming department, station manager, that type of stuff. Big stakeholders, right, as well. Permanence is building a habit of listening to you in your audience, right? So don't underestimate the attraction for many listeners in hearing their name on the radio, right? Money isn't always necessary for successful promotion. It isn't. It could be presence, right? It could be connection. It could be, again, those for me are big. Like, like presence within a community. Like, you're actually, the station is there. It's doing a drive to help clean up the community, or a drive to collect, let's say, food or parcels or whatever it may be. That doesn't cost the station. That doesn't cost the station anything. People are coming in and they are, donating whatever it may be, but you are coming in as a key player for that community, and obviously the community will remember you, and also thank you for it, right? Television advertising campaigns are affordable only by piggybacking on advertisers promotional budgets, right? For us alone, it's too expensive. It doesn't really make sense. But if we have something that we are doing with, for example, like the Rand, I think it's called the Randy's the Show, right? Right, the Randy's the Show. I know that 947 once again. I keep saying things that they're just in the top of my mind at this moment. It's not like the only station I pay attention to, but they did this year they did a partnership with them, right? So Randy's the Show does all the work, really, genuinely. They pay all the money, and 947 hosts as a partner, to be able to make sure that becomes a very, very profitable event, And the thing is, again, Randy's Show, or the Rand Show, whatever it may be, is already paying. They've already paid. 947 for that partnership, and obviously the advertising across, etc., right? But that's the kind of like partnerships that work then, and does obviously cut down the budget from a station side, right? Um, so use your own station and website to promote what you are doing. Create powerful parody songs for musically inclined listeners to get your point across in a fun way. And that's just one idea. Doesn't always fit. So this is really important. It's the Sappho shrimp approach to a good idea, or how you can place a good idea within, like obviously under promotions, like where could it fit in, what does it apply to, or where can we target, because these things are important to a listener. And that's on page 345 of Beyond Powerful Radio, right? So the Sappho shrimp stands for sex. Okay, so any aspects of people's sex lives. I wouldn't say. It could also be sex identity. It could be sexual health. There could be many things, right? But these things are important to our listeners. Achievement, right? So to be able to win a contest, run a marathon, um, be able to come first in something, whatever it is. We award you, reward you, or we give you the platform to be able to do such a thing. Right. Fantasy, obviously, is a great thing for us as people. We do enjoy fantasy and every aspect of that, because it takes us away from our everyday problems, I suppose, or everyday life. Even if you don't have any problems, to be able to step out into a bit of a fantastical world is always something that is part of what we enjoy as human beings. Outrage. We can definitely go on like that kind of line. Outrage. It could be maybe, I mean, to the extreme of, let's say, outrage, like anger and kind of response and that type of stuff as a call to action, by the community for something, and we can come to that. So outrage, let's say, for not having water, and I know that a lot of stations and just a lot of people actually, like here in the area, there was a lot of water shedding, quote unquote, right? But for many days, and on the streets, you would actually find a number of little stations that were providing water to the community. As I'm sure you've seen in your own one, right? So it's a great way. So, a station comes up, they know that, let's say, a city or a town or whatever is out of water, and they've been out of water for maybe 3 weeks. They come and they bring big trucks and like trucks after trucks after trucks and go down and they go and deliver water. That's, for me, that's sparked from an outrage that the community actually has. We make it a winning opportunity, right? Spectacle, like really just go out there and make it like something big and ridiculous, like some of the examples that we have also used before. Humor, easy, right? Rescue, once again, coming. I think rescue might have tied in with maybe the example that I gave for outrage. It also could be for pets, right? We could also rescue people who had lost their homes, or have no food, lost their jobs, whatever it is. Injustice, so we'll see that maybe there was a riot or whatever it may be, and a lot of people were hurt. And like the station can come in and also just like drive the for the we're the mouth and we're the mouth of the people, we're the voice of the people. So we come in and we make sure that we get the right, obviously, legalities, we make sure that the legal processes are in order. We approach the right institutions, or whatever it may be, municipalities, etc., or whatever it is that have to come and do something about something for our community, right? Um, and again, everything can be tied in promotion. Whatever, it's all promotion at the end of the day. Money, that one's an easy one. Patriotism, lovely. I mean, again, we're going into. I think we have. Is it When is it in September? Is it Freedom Day? But they call it Bride Day. But anyway, for example, patriotism. We have so many great public holidays as well. We celebrate, obviously, Mandela Month as well instead of Mandela Day. We have many different things that we want to, we're obviously sporting, rugby, cricket, whatever it may be, soccer. We can build in those different areas into what it is that could be a cool, great promotion for us. And obviously, Scandal. Oh, we want to jump on that as well. but also not, it doesn't always have to be about gossip. We can create something scandalous, but cool scandalous, fun scandalous, um, a bit of our own, just eye catchers, of situations. All right, keeping your promise. Doug Harris, an expert on branding radio stations, mentions that branding is often spoken of in hushed tones, as it were a mystical phenomenon. In the word of broadcasting, a brand is a promise. Again, you see this image of Coca-Cola, you see this image of Absa, you see this image of BMH, or Boston Broadcast now. Great new imaging, great new brand. It promises a lot. And when you go and you give it a chance, you expect that promise to be fulfilled, right? So if a listener lured by this safe and fun for the whole family promise tunes in to hear a dirty joke or even something slightly inappropriate, I'm laughing because the thing is that this is a real thing. Certain stations are only just for family, like it's family friendly. So across the board, all the content, the presenters, the music, everything must make sure that we deliver on that marketing or that brand promise then as well. If not, man, like people never trust you again. And your listener will never trust you again. They'll just go away, but they'll also have a bad taste in their mouth, right? And word of mouth, it can cripple you, right? So Doug Harris breaks the process down as follows: one, you got to define the target market, obviously. Two, identify the emotional needs of your target. We've done that before. Composite listeners, understanding lifestyles, emotional, relevance in many, many different areas in their life, in their mind, in their psyche, whatever it may be, right? Give me a sign. So, tell tell us who you are, right? Saying the station, product, performance, and promotion. Promote the station's image as well as its product. Build passion, emotion, and listeners' loyalty, right? Involve your listeners wherever you can and whenever you can, because that's what they want. They want to be part of that brand, right? Ensure the people who are not participating will still enjoy hearing, for example, in this case, a promotion or a contest, which is literally everybody else but that one, two, three, four, five, 10 people that might actually get through and win, depending on how much you are giving away to how many people, right? Again, promoting the news, a scoop for a scoop, right? We want to be able to know that these things matter. Like like we want to be able to get advantage, like gain traction, with the stuff that we do, and how that might roll over in different areas of like free marketing. So what is it that it was paid media, earned media, the stuff that we did in the beginning of the year, right? Or at some point throughout the year. The pros and the cons of contests, well, designated caller contests, right, are designated caller contests. That's not correct, right? The contents. So, again, obviously the pro is that we hear someone and we want to hear about their experience, like maybe they're special, maybe they've been chosen for a certain reason, whatever it is. A trivia contest, okay, so the con of that, it might be a little bit maybe too personal. It might obviously not resonate with pretty much like maybe the large majority of your listeners, whatever it may be, right? Also, we did say, depending on what it is that you are doing with that listener. We said there in terms of like trying to target, trying to do something good, but for very tragic situations as well. Anyway, trivia contests, might be. So the great thing is that people do love well, not guessing games, but you know, um, trivia. To be able to test how do they know this, do they know that, ask a question, that question. It could also be just a little bit too basic as well, and might not interest a lot of listeners. But enough listeners do like to play the game along with to say, well, I know that answer, I know that answer, I don't know that one. That's surprising. I'd learned something new. Okay. So recall contests, kind of that recall contests bringing something back for me. That's the way I interpret that. So we've heard on in the previous lesson where they mentioned that certain competitions would come back in 2 seasons or 3 seasons or 4 seasons or whatever it may be. There we go with that. Email, fax, or snail mail contests. It's a good way of building up, let's say, a database of and using that database for your newsletters, etc. I don't think fax is used at all, right? Snail mail is absolutely uh, uh, kind of like dead, but it's so nice. We could also incorporate that really. Like, like one competition could be you could go find a post office, write a letter, find a stamp, and if you send us just like a little bit of a hi hello, you've entered this competition. But you've also learned that snail mail might still exist, and we're going to give you like $1,000 just for you being able to go and and make snail mail still matter, whatever it may be, right? Okay. But once again, about duration and delay, that would be probably a con for that. Performance based contests. So the thing is with this, it's great because competitively, and we can have that in many different contexts, right? It could be a physical thing. So, for example, making sure that, let's say, you and your dad need to compete in a what is it, a three-legged race, alongside all other dads, and it's for Father's Day, and you guys doing an outside broadcast or whatever it may be, right? Performance based, obviously, the dad and the son that are the winning team, or the winning team, right? Okay. But then obviously we also have to watch out for things like, for example, let's say a dad and son duet. So, for example, let's say we have three like dad son contestants, right, or that are going to be singing for us, and all of them sound really great. Again, you have to be able to make sure that the assessment on how it is that you choose a winner needs to be very kind of transparent and fair, and maybe you should open it up to audiences, for example, so they can just quickly vote. They've got 10 minutes. The person with the most votes is going to win. And that is fair. We can't be held accountable in terms of like a legal, unfair process of choosing a winner, right? But all of these are great ideas, like that you see here, different types of contests, the different umbrellas for. While a powerful promotion can initially bring large numbers of new listeners into the tent, unless you build an actual connection with them, they will go away, right? Because you can't buy an audience, and we've said that before. You can have these amazing contests, and people might actually hear of it, but they're another listener. They're listening to another station. They might come over only for the duration of that contest. You know why? Because things that they don't really like. That if they liked your station, they would have probably chosen you already as a first choice. They wouldn't be listening to another station, right? So just be careful about that kind of misconception of saying, oh, I've got these tons of people. Look at all these entries, whatever it is. Is that have you retained that new followership and said, and then afterwards being able to say, yeah, confidently, that's good. Tips for creating a great radio promotions. One, ask, right? Ask as always with content. Let's see what maybe your listeners need. What are they busy with? What are they struggling with? Where are they right now in this time of year? Like what does Christmas look like for them? What do they celebrate? Or what do they hold dearly to their hearts, close to their hearts, that type of stuff, right? Less is truly more. So the simpler, the better the competition. They do remember, right? They will remember a good competition, a good promotion, right? When designing a promotion, always ask yourself how it can be made bigger, right? In other words, how can we elevate the idea to reach more, to have a bigger impact without necessarily maybe spending a lot more money, right? Or any money at all. Don't outsmart yourself, so don't overthink it as well. It's all in the details of how you lay out the simplistic mechanic of it as well. Remember the payoff. What does the listener get out of it? What does the client get out of it? So you can remember to get paid, right? The promo is better than the bit, and all promotions are actually equal. There isn't one that's better than the other because all of them serve the same purpose. Let me see what I can do to make my listeners' life a little bit better, and I can reward them for being part of our family, right? If you do want to be approaching television, you did also see in that previous in the previous lesson there was visualization. So I know that the visualization for a lot of that is obviously built to be um, I mean, obviously hosted or on their platforms, right? Not necessarily looking at TV, channels, which perhaps maybe could cover you if you did create a bit of a stir, right? Anyway, think how you can break through the thousands of emails that like the station receives. Don't get frustrated if you call a TV news desk and they are brisk. All right. So you want to be able to, like as a marketing team, you want to be able to say, listen, we are going to be do this. Could you cover us, whatever it is? It's the same. Well, they're also a media company. We should also know how media companies work. And so we should understand kind of like have a good understanding and a tolerance for each other. Get a feel for what plays on the station that you are pitching to. Call once, right? Pitch things that dovetail. So it's a type of joint used to fix two pieces of wood firmly together with the day's news, right? That's really cool. Keep TV posted regularly. So obviously press junkets or whatever it is, the same way we would get them from other people, like again labels, etc. We've said this before. Marketing companies for other products, other services, people, whatever it is, agents. We would do the same thing to share also what we are doing, right? Know that that are deadlines for consideration, review, obviously like airing that type of stuff. Start your events on time. Plaster your call letters everywhere, right? No pictures. Be TV friendly. If your radio station is co-owned with a TV station, that partnership will what a done deal. That's great. Okay, piggyback on your advertisers' advertising. So let's go. We obviously pre-mentioned that before, and I gave you the Rand show. I think it's called it is the Rand show, man. Not the Rand East. Maybe it was called the Rand Easter show back way back when, right? Anyway, it's the Rand show. Anyway, Doug Harris once again says doing a little bit of homework to find out which advertisers in your market spend the most money on television, print, and outdoors is good for you because if they are also willing and inclined already to be using these different channels, then they definitely are not going to have a problem with you saying maybe this would also work great in terms of this type of presence and this type of platform in addition to what we are doing and building for this particular activation, right? So find a way to include one of the station personalities or a station logo in the client's advertising. Definitely, it's a must. The client might like to use one of your station's personalities. They'll have a preference. I'll say, I would like this breakfast show host, or I would like that weekend show host, or I would like the lunch show host, whatever it is, right? And, as a spokesperson, this person well, could get paid. They could get paid. Depends on if it's under the talent management department of the station itself. Um, and ideally, they should get paid, you understand, because they are being a brand ambassador. Not only for the station, if you're doing stuff for the station, you're being paid already. But for a client, they would have to pay extra, right? This is a way to get exposure for your radio station's call letters, logo, or personalities at little or no cost to you. Other resources, a branded website, online newsletters, which you think are archaic, but they're not. We look at our emails all the time and we subscribe to things and unsubscribes based on the quality of that and relevance of that letter, that use of the newsletter that we do get sent maybe every week, once a week, maybe twice a week, whatever it is. Some of them just overdo it and do it every day. It's really annoying. But anyway, interactive phone systems, etc. Some ways to be able to just connect. Okay, those cost-effective examples of other people's media will enhance and amplify your marketing attack, especially if traditional, more expensive avenues of external marketing is not a place that you can go to again just because maybe you can't afford it. Right, okay, or it's too expensive. Right, it's not always about maybe not having the money. It's just maybe a ridiculous amount of money shouldn't be spent. All right, so here's his action plan for success. Step one, each radio department should prepare a list of goals, needs, and wants, right? Two, create an 18-month calendar beginning with the start of the next month. And here's what you put into the calendar. One, national, regional, or local events and holidays. So we know that. We know because we know that those are stable, like literally repetitive and on the same day every single year. Easter here, Freedom Day, as I said earlier, there. We have so many here in South Africa, especially around April, May, that are very, very, very. There's a large opportunity there, but there's also Christmas, and there is, again, New Year's, and again the station's birthday as well, for example. But we can also look at like community events that are every single year the same thing, and maybe again, like I said, like the Rand show or Comic Con or Joburg Day or what. Okay, now Joburg Day is a station thing, so I'm looking for more things like, I don't know. Oh, there's cancer drives, like the cancer thons, that type of stuff. Anyway, religious observations. It is a second option there. First day of school, university classes, that when they begin, days when banks, schools, and public offices might actually be closed, major sporting events, celebrity birthdays of interest to the target listener, because we can definitely capitalize in that, bring that celebrity in, whatever it is, hold a little bit of a private concert, like, we can do so much things with that, right? Station events or anniversaries, special station programming and ratings periods, very important. Step three, marketing, programming, and on air staff should meet to decide which of these calendar dates are most important and how the station will tie into them. So you go, like I say, it's not that you'll omit the rest of them. You must focus on the ones that are the most important to that particular listener's life, all right, throughout that year or those 18 months, right? So why we do 18 months is previously we said that you need to start things early, right? Okay. And again, in those particular first 6 months or last 6 months or in between 6 months, new things could be like over and above the standard stuff that we did speak about already, the first couple of points there. There could be new opportunities as well, right? Step four, calculate your budget for each promotion or promotional period. Five, defend and explain yourself or your budget, should I say, by writing a story to go with your proposal. Number six, when asked to reduce the budget, a marketing manager may wish to show the narratives to other department heads because you need to work with other departments. You have to have, there's nothing that again works alone in any um, or independently in any company. So it wouldn't make sense to say that the same thing applies, or something different applies to radio stations, right? Step seven, review your progress and your spending every month, right? You could also accrue like a lot more money as well. So you could get that in that periods, and maybe that goes within more of the marketing budget, or it could go to the station's budget itself, right? The most common mistakes, or revenue, should I say, common mistakes in marketing can be avoided by the following two simple rules: play a plan and place it in advance. Put everything in writing. Nearly done here. So use your own airwaves and website to promote, to create anticipation, expectations, pick the highlights, and then seize those opportunities, right? So again, kind of promo points, news or talk radio, teasers and promos are best when they are short. Cross promotion, for example, like one show will promote another show, right? So your show will say what's happening on the breakfast show. They might even quickly like do a little bit of a call across to the drive show host, and say, listen, where you're going to be today, or tell us a little bit more about yesterday's, like the excitement of yesterday's event or whatever it was. I don't know. Many ways that we can cross promote, and we always do that as a station, right? Do it yourself. Get your own outside press. So you can go and use the website, obviously, to promote the events, but go and cultivate some new ideas, right? Some new ideas, some new content in the online space, and make sure that it is shared and it is followed, right? Okay, here we go. Last um, slide here. For this lesson here, throw out stale bread. It is tempting to use great promos over and over again. Do not give in to that temptation, right? Even if it's been tried and tested a billion times, maybe you should try something new. Okay. Stay up for it. So if you cut your promos last thing before you leave the situation, there is a danger of sounding tired and unenthusiastic. After all, you just to spend 3 hours, you spend 3 hours, should I say, on air. You want to go home, you are holding your car keys. Try running into the production room prior to today's show and see what you can come up with to promote tomorrow's show, right? This isn't a 3 hour job. Like I'm saying, and specifically pointing this out to the presenters and producers, right? It's not a 3 hour job. It is a quote unquote 24-hour job, sure, in terms of, again, that online presence, etc., what we do. But the thing is, again, building, like prepping content, and like organizing guests, making sure that you run online promotions, that type of stuff. With that building that, developing that content creation, whatever it may be. It's much more than just going on and just speaking for 3 hours, right? Excuse me. Let's get some water. Uh, okay, get it right. So when you work with pre-recorded elements, make them perfect. So no kind of like slack job in that. And please remember Bubby, right? Okay, you can even put the extra B in there. You can go to this particular link and have a read through it for yourself. But there are obviously the key elements of this particular lecture. I'm going to stop it there, and I will see you in the next